Alright, it's more of 3 years later for Eden Zero as we pick up seeing that Rebecca's Ananeko Live channel has been blowing the fuck up. I would hope so after 3 years. I can only hope that, like, after a certain point, I can get that kind of attention, but you know how it is. I'd have to actually do something interesting for that to happen, and that's too much effort. I got a day job. But it is nice to actually see Rebecca flourish. I don't know, I just wish we had more of her journey, I guess, but I mean, that was ultimately just going to be kind of padding, but like the whole basis behind why she even wanted to set out and find Mother was to do something for Rebecca's channel. And I figured a lot of the moments of everyone just going to different planets would like play into like Rebecca's broadcasting this or showing it off and just like, oh man, this planet, it's so cool. This planet, it's so cool. This, that, and the other. And it feels like that kind of took a back seat the past couple of story arcs. Also, just like on Twitch, Rebecca's comment section is full of nothing but pervs, but I get the feeling she kind of plays into that. Also, Couchpoo or however you pronounce her name, she's still hanging out on the Eden Zero as well. So I guess that kind of makes her a full-time crewmate, I would assume. Also, Sister's still around, still sexy as ever, buddy, as well as Moscow. We also get a glimpse of Elsie Crimson's new outfit, which got that cleavage, although we only really kind of see her from the shoulders kind of up. But of course, leave it to Mashima to at least fit in a little bit of cleavage. You don't get the boing, but you get enough. But Cheeky and Elsie communicate that he's still in the Kaide Cosmos and that Elsie isn't too far. In fact, apparently Elsie's home used to be in the Kaide Cosmos, so that means there's a good setup for her to run into Justice and for us to have a clash between them. Hopefully maybe squashing their beef at some point, who knows. I'm also surprised that in all this time, nobody else has kind of joined the crew of Edens or anything like that. I would have expected at least like one new character that we could get to know, but I mean, I guess that would be a little too jarring though, so it makes sense. I just thought it would be cool to just have some new faces around the ship. But it's also nice to see that Elsie and Shiki have been keeping in touch, and it's just like, okay, look, if any one of us finds Ziggy, we'll contact the other, and we'll roll up on that bitch. Because, I mean, they know Ziggy by this point. He's too dangerous to go it alone. We also get to see Jin, who's just basically got a mullet at this point. His hair's just longer, which I guess is one of the few organic parts to him. Also, Laguna's hair is a little bit shaggier. Most of the characters' character designs haven't really changed too much outside of longer hair. But then again, 3 years, unless you get jacked like Shiki did, you're only going to really change so much. Although both Jin and Laguna do comment on the fact that they haven't really been making any headway in finding Ziggy. Apparently they've just been caught in this endless stalemate for the past 3 years where they go after Ziggy, they find a planet that he's invaded, liberate it, and then they just go searching after him all again. It's the most vicious and boring game of cat and mouse possible. Yes, they've grown strong because of it more than likely, but that kind of explains why we kind of yada-yada'd over all of that. I will say, you could have cut that down to a year. I don't know why it had to specifically be 3 years that passed, but maybe it'll come into play somewhere down the line. And Shiki kind of agrees with all of this. He's just like, we gotta find some kind of clue. That's the only way to break this stalemate, or else we'll never catch up to Ziggy. Find some place that he's hanging out. Where does he retreat to? Where is he getting all of his resources? There has to be some place he goes for some kind of downtime. We also, of course, because Hiromashima, we get one big bath scene with pretty much all the girls on the crew except for Couchpo and Hermit, who's at the main console. We get to see an older Klein, whose hair is a little bit longer, and she's filled out a little bit more, which I'm kind of depressed by because I like her. I prefer her slimmer build for the most part. It's just kind of nicer to see a different body type, if nothing else. Although, saying that, I guess I should say I want more of Naked Couchpo, which, I mean, come on, Mashima. Make it happen. But Klein does react to the fact that Shiki has been declared one of the Eurasian Sets Galactica, and she's kind of worried a little bit. Although Rebecca and Homura don't really think too much of it, as Rebecca feels that Shiki really doesn't care too much about that new title, and Homura just sees it as him being acknowledged as a true warrior, of course. But Klein has every reason to be concerned about it, because it's like, okay, is the government going to come after us? Because that's what it means. We're enemy, well, he's an enemy of the government. But Rebecca just thinks about the fact that the government never really had that great of an opinion about Shiki beforehand. Meanwhile, Homura is still mourning the loss of Creed, so she's still kind of nursing that hurt for the most part. But Klein also says that Rebecca should be concerned as well. This could put her B-Tuber or B-Cuber channel in jeopardy to some degree. But Rebecca, is actually being very adult about it and isn't really concerned with that. Ultimately, she just wants to help out Shiki, and that's pretty much all that matters, which, I mean, again, it's weird because a lot of this adventure started because Shiki wanted to help out Rebecca's B-Cube career, but Homura does wonder why the government is now showing an interest in what Shiki is doing. And Klein thinks that maybe it's because Shiki has been going out there into the different cosmos and liberating worlds from Ziggy, maybe it's making them look bad. And Homura just thinks it's also because Shiki has grown so strong, something which Sister agrees with. We also get a nice little moment where Shiki is at that throne room area on the ship where Witch Regret's little visor headpiece sit, and he thinks back to her, and yeah, I felt that melancholy in my heart a little bit at the person that we lost. And Shiki makes a vow to protect the ship, defeat Ziggy, and make it to Mother, just kind of reaffirming his conviction from before. Everything that's motivated up until this point and will motivate him far into the future. But he's then contacted by Hermit that they've found a stowaway. And Hermit says that it's a human, so it's not a minion of Ziggy. However, as they allow the castaway to come aboard, Rebecca senses something familiar. And as we see the castaway, it's none other than Captain Connor. The events of the 29th world seem to be taking place pretty much all over again. Although I'm not sure if it's simply the translation or it is in the speech pattern of Captain Connor, but he speaks kind of like an old-timey pirate with lots of yees and IBs and arg. And Rebecca immediately tries to warn everyone because he was with Ziggy back when they were on Granbell, as he was on the Eden's 1 when they fired upon the Eden's 0. But apparently Shiki has no recollection of that, which is very odd. And Connor also acts as though he has no recollection of them as well. He even goes on to say that he only ever worked in Ziggy's droid factory, and he didn't even know it was Ziggy's factory. And he made a break as soon as he found out. And while Rebecca immediately thinks that he's lying, this actually serves as a clue. A droid factory, where all of the skullbots that Ziggy has been mass producing must be made. So lying or not, this is the first lead they've actually gotten to the possible whereabouts of Ziggy. Although the question still remains, what's going on? Why does Shiki not remember Connor whatsoever? It's not like he'd remember the previous world, and he does also state that he feels like he heard the name Captain Connor before, but is that just the memories from the other world drifting into his mind thanks to gravity and however that works? Or is it something more? Something weird is going on here. I mean, it makes sense that Rebecca would remember him so vividly, but is Captain Connor's presence aboard the Eden Zero destined? That he would end up adrift pretty much in the same way he was in World 29? What's going on? There's a lot of weird things going on here that don't quite add up. Or is it that this isn't the Connor that we think it is? Let me know your thoughts and theories in the comments section below. Is this a clone? And what makes Captain Connor so special that he would just seem to gravitate towards the Eden Zero? Is it a fixed fate? I'm very curious. But hey, if you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for notifications. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and remember, be careful when you wander out in space. Bye-bye.